Hi BookTube, it's Missy, and I read 20 books this month. I know, so many books.
20 books.
There was 3 read-a-thons that I participated in this month, the A Year-a-thon read-a-thon, the BookTube-a-thon, and the Underhyped read-a-thon. I will leave all the links down below along with all of my video wrap-ups for each week. In this video I'm just going to be showing you the books because I already have reviewed the books during the wrap-ups, so I don't want to bore you with all of that extra information, but I will share with you my star ratings on Goodreads for each book. So let's get started. The very first week, like I said, was the A Year-a-thon read-a-thon. Not only did I participate in that read-a-thon, which was classics, I also did a read-along with Penelope from Penelope's Picks. That one was a lot of fun. So the first book that I read during the read-a-thon was Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. This is a philosophical book and I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I read during the read-a-thon was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is by Robert Louis Stevenson and I gave this 3 stars. This is a gothic horror novel. The third book that I read was Animal Farm by George Orwell. I gave this book 4 stars. It was amazing. I also read The Merciless by Danielle Vega. This is the book that I read with Penelope from Penelope's Picks. This was a horror novel that I gave 5 stars to. I never did a review on this because there's just so many reviews out there already, but this was just amazing, and I will leave my Goodreads review down below in the description bar if you would like to check that out. If you love horror, you must read this book. I also read a graphic novel from NetGalley, and it was Pinocchio, the Vampire Slayer. It came in books 1 and 2 that I read, and I gave those both 4 stars. I really liked the drawings. I liked the storyline. I learned about NetGalley through Lexi from Lexi Reviews. I will also leave her channel down below. She was doing one of her book hauls and mentioned NetGalley, and I looked it up really quickly and I found out that is a site where you can sign up for free and request ARCs, and I was really excited to be able to receive a few, and so Pinocchio the Vampire Slayer was one of them. The next book I read during the Year-a-thon read-a-thon was Dracula by Bram Stoker. I only got through half of it during that read-a-thon and I continued and finished it in the BookTube-a-thon. I gave this book 4 stars. This is again another gothic horror novel. On the second week of July was the BookTube-a-thon, and there were 7 book challenges, so I did 6 of them. The first book that I read during the read-a-thon was Sailor Twain by Mark Siegel, and I gave this graphic novel 4 stars. This is a historical fiction. The next book that I read during the BookTube-a-thon was Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I had to return it to the library, and so you don't get to see the physical copy, but I gave that 5 stars. Obviously, the entire series was amazing. It's a fantasy series. If you have not checked out The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, you must do so. It is awesome. Alright, the next 3 books that I read during the BookTube-a-thon was the Waking trilogy. I just did a review video on this trilogy yesterday, but the first book is Dreams of the Dead, then Spirits of the Know, and A Winter of Ghosts. This is an Asian horror trilogy. The third week of July was the Underhyped read-a-thon, so these were all books that had 5,000 ratings or less on Goodreads. The first book that I read I also got from NetGalley, and that is Rocket Girl by Brandon Montclair. I gave all 5 issues of this comic 3 stars each. It is a science fiction. The next book that I read was The Edge of Nowhere by Elizabeth George. I gave this 5 stars. This is a mystery and it was amazing. The next book that I read was The In-Between by Barbara Stewart. This was an ARC that I received from Goodreads, and I was happy to have finally read it. I gave this book 4 stars. I also read Meteor Man, again from NetGalley. This is a graphic novel by Jeff Parker. I gave this graphic novel 5 stars. I really enjoyed the illustrations. It is a science fiction about aliens invading Earth through meteorites, and I really liked it. I would check it out. The last book that I read during the underhyped read-a-thon was Rain Village by Caroline Turgeon. This book I gave 4 stars. It was a magical realism historical fiction novel. Alright, and the last week of July I read 4 books, and these ones didn't have a theme. They were just the leftovers that I was supposed to read from my TBR. I finished Ignite Me, which is the 3rd and final book in the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to start a video, or make a video, on books that I love to hate, because this entire series I gave 5 stars, but it brought the feels, brought the frustration. I hated Juliet. She sort of redeemed herself in the 3rd book. If you guys want to hear a review on the entire series, let me know down below. But basically, I'm Team Warner, and I read this all in one day, and I'm happy that I finally finished the series. The next book that I read was The Reformed Vampire Support Group by Catherine Jinks. This is an Australian author, so this is set in Sydney, and I thought this was going to be a funny book, but it wasn't. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, and it is about a bunch of vampires who get together Tuesday nights to whine and complain about how it sucks to be a vampire. In this book, the genre is completely flipped upside down. Vampires are not sexy, they are not cool, they are not romantic or mysterious. They throw up a lot, they live off of guinea pigs, they have no superpowers, they can see really well at nighttime, but that's the only cool thing about them. They're usually just really sick, and they hide out, and they complain, and they don't go outside, and it's just a miserable existence. It's not fun or cool at all. And so it was easy to read, but I just had no attachment to any of the characters, and so I read it, and it was, it kept me interested, but that's about it. I also read 2 more books from NetGalley. The first one is Les Mis, the graphic novel, or the manga, and that one was written by Stephanie King. I gave this one 4 stars. I have never read the classic before or have seen the movie, so I didn't know anything about Les Mis, and it was a really sad story. I was very heartbroken about all the misfortune that took place. I actually really liked it. Now I really want to definitely watch the movie, and I don't know if I'll be able to actually read the classic since it's so long, but the manga was very good. The last book that I read this month that I actually finished today was Creed by Trisha Lever and Lindsay Curry. This book is released on November 8th, 2014. It is a horror book, and it's also a crazy Bible-thumping killer book. So if you like to read about like slasher movies with psychotic, fanatical religious freaks in it, and a scary town that just obeys this man, definitely check it out. I will leave my reviews, like I said throughout this entire video, down below. I always write better reviews than I can say them on camera. And that was my July wrap up. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful week. Bye!